Welcome to the Fifth Gait Podcast. We've thrown around the idea of a podcast for years, but we finally made it happen, stuck in the truck together on a 10-hour road trip home from a horse show. Our passion is the Icelandic horse and all aspects of the worldwide community that surrounds this breed. Here, we come together as equestrian professionals to share our hardest lessons, biggest wins, and our future hopes in Icelandic horsemanship. Our conversations aim to educate, inspire, and grow all people like us who love Icelandic horses, from enthusiasts and amateurs to trainers, competitors, and field specialists. So you are both a trainer.
Yes.
You're an educated certified trainer. You're also the owner of Ástund Tack, and you design saddles and bridles and all sorts of different horse equipment.
Mm-hmm.
You have a storefront, but you also travel around and work with a lot of trainers and design and really build up this entire brand from the ground up. We want to focus on talking about Ástund Saddles, but also, of course, how that relates to training and riding and just the industry in general. As we mentioned, are both the trainer and the saddle designer. If you had to, though, explain to someone that had no horse industry specific knowledge, how would you describe your role, your job, day to day?
Well, I run a tack store.
Yes.
It's a family-owned business since 1976.
Wow.
Then I'm a writing teacher or a trainer. So that goes hand in hand. When I was born, I had no chance. I think it was 8. My parents got a call from school because I hadn't been to school for a week. And they said, well, he hasn't been sick at all. He's been going to school every single morning.
Oh, no.
But the stables were just middle of Reykjavík, 10 minutes walk away. So instead of going to school, I just went to the stables and hang out with the elderly men and women and comb horses. So it was just in ways. And we had horses early on.
Okay.
That's why my parents started the business. So then we breed horses, I train horses, we compete, and then the interest came. So what I do is I teach people to ride, I train horses, and we run a tack store and design questions.
I love that. That's a great elevator pitch.
That is perfect. You had no chance.
I had no chance. I mean, you are either addicted or not. I once thought about quitting horses. It's impossible.
Okay, so now going into developing your company, I know that a lot of our viewers and listeners, while they love to hear stuff about horsemanship, they also love to hear stuff about business because all of us are entrepreneurs in our own right. In your journey developing Ástund, what made you almost quit?
Quit is not in my vocabulary.
Oh, vocabulary.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a quitter. There was a period, 1998, wow, I sound old, when we wanted to make more saddles quicker so we could sell more. We were thinking about money. And that's a thing we always regret because those saddles, they are not cheap. But can we make them cheaper? Then they wouldn't be Ástund saddles. You would have less quality in stitches, in leather, in tree. So maybe that's a good thing that they are not cheap. And they never will. But we had them made cheaper leather and things like that, and we always regret that. And we stopped that after 6 months or something.
Okay.
That was something, well, not to quit, but never again. I mean, that's something we should not do.
I think it's so often in life that those moments where you do something that you're unhappy with, that also sets the entire direction and intention behind your future work.
Exactly.
Sounds like that was a really pivotal moment.
Yeah, so for quality, we don't give any discount. We just choose the best material. We can't compete with India or Poland or Argentina in mass production.
Yeah.
But quality and science, we can compete with everyone in the business around the world.
When it comes to horsemanship, most horse trainers, I think, have a horse that helped define their journey as trainers and riders. What has been the most important horse in your life?
Can I pick two?
Yes, you can pick two. Go for it.
So, late Eiríkur Guðmundsson, I don't know if you remember the stallion station in Iceland. So it was a stallion station. Most of the stallions went there and were shown in the spring. And I was good friend of Rúna Einarsdóttir and Eiríkur Guðmundsson late. And I had the opportunity to try a lot of best horses then. And then he had water from Södergróf. And I sat on him and we went for a ride. And something triggered me, or it was like you were sitting on an atom bomb. I mean, the energy you got, it wasn't the power, the feeling to, then you were, I felt like a king for a moment. And then later on, the second after that experience was my Rás from my best dad, winner of Landsmót, that Eyjólfur Ísarsson showed so perfectly with the Spanish steps and the child and winner of Landsmót, Icelandic champion, and things like that. I felt that as well. Something in the aura, something I can't explain.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Rás and the journey there?
Well, I started Rás myself. That was my thing in the earlier days, to start young horses. That was I was good at, and she was quite a handful, I have to say, and what a character. If you were in the stable, you should not raise your voice. Just walking past. She just turned around, head in the corner, and just stood there. So you have to be really sensitive about her and around her. And the energy she had, you had to tell her to stop.
Yes.
You had to take her, otherwise she would never stop. If you were sitting on her and riding, the energy was endless. So you have to be really sensible when to create and things like that.
To preserve that spirit.
Yeah, and she was not a cuddler.
Yeah.
I mean, she was sometimes you thought, has she never been in a stable or trained? She was always well behaved, but she was just like from the herd.
Yeah.
And she had the charisma, really enthusiastic to work and easygoing like that.
She is the one that Eyjólfur is oftentimes pictured doing the Spanish walk, right?
Well, my father said, Eyjólfur, you should start. You need a good horse to start to compete again. And then he said, would you like to have Rás? And Eyjólfur had to think it over. He always thinks things over. He never does anything rash. Clever man. So my father said to him,
practice.
Yeah. So my father said to him, okay, but the only thing I ask for, you can have her, show her, a writer or whatever, you teach her the Spanish step.
Oh, no way.
Huh.
Again, Eyjólfur had to think it over. But then he came, no problem. He probably went to look at how it's done and said, okay, that's easy peasy. And she was a bit famous with that as well.
I mean, she was one of the first horses Icelandic horses, really the first Icelandic horse I saw doing that.
Yeah,
It's just such an iconic image.
Yeah, and she did it so good.
Him. Yeah.
Power, like anything she did was with energy and power. And
yeah, that presence.
so those two, they stick out a bit.
Tell us a little bit about your career as a trainer. You found that you were good and people recognized that you were good at starting young horses.
It gave me so much as well, to read horses, to understand them, talk differently around them. Every single horse like us is a different character, and I didn't want to box anything in. If you know the X's and O's, you have to get 3 X's in a row.
Yes,
Tic-tac-toe.
That I'm always outside that.
Okay.
I can't, and so figure out things to understand the horse. I'm curious to learn how the horses behave, and so easy going when they are young.
Yeah.
Then they are like with kids. They're not spoiled. We haven't adopted any bad habits and things like that. So we can work with how they feel. Clock writer, I call it a clock writer or time writer. Like if you're a competition person, I mean, for me, fun off and join with the horse and everything else doesn't matter. But we're ready on time, or you have to be ready to do that. It takes the time it takes.
Yes.
So, and that's why I'm not so, I've never competed that much, because then you have to be ready that the horse does that exactly. Is it ready? Do you have to hide something? Tracking, riding, training. That's my thing.
I love the clock rider. I've never heard that term before. It's good. Yeah. So building on that, since you have spent plenty of time as a trainer and a riding teacher, how has that influenced how you develop Ástund products? Especially because your passion is the design, right? And so I'm sure that played a huge role.
Well, first thing comes to mind is, how can I make this better for the horse? I start there. If I see something, a saddle or a bit or whatever it is, and it doesn't feel right or feel good, how can I make it better for the horse? You start there. We sometimes forget the economic or money thing. It's not always clever, but it's very good for the horse.
Yes.
That's, for example, with the saddles. To make them horse friendly. And sometimes the saddle has to protect the horse from the rider.
Mm.
You can sometimes not directly tell that to the customer, but if you're a beginner or you're crooked or something, the saddle protects the horse from the rider. For bits or for headstalls, you have to know where the nerves are on the horse's head, designing around that. Is it as important as some people say today? They say it's tested and tested and things like that, but how do you test it? And is that accurate? Who decides too much pressure, what is too low? That's something, because I'm a trainer or a writer, you can sense that as well. And I'm a really good listener. I listen to the customer, so no question is silly. And if you're a beginner, sometimes the beginners come with the best questions that challenge your mind. And why haven't I thought about that?
I think it's really neat that you say that the saddling equipment also serves as this protective role in some cases,
Yes.
because
I love that.
I think as much as that might come across almost as like, a criticism of the rider, none of us are perfect.
No.
We are all going to have crookednesses and idiosyncrasies in our riding that
Absolutely.
make us maybe not as desirable of a passenger for our horses.
Yeah.
And so we should just go in recognizing that and then pick equipment that helps.
Yeah. I mean, I think the horse deserves it. If you think about the lifespan of the human beings, it's spread with blood and bones of the horses as a war tool,
Yes.
as a shelter, as a agriculture, farming animal. I mean, it's endless, and our life wouldn't be as it is, I think, today if it weren't without the horse.
Yes.
It kept us alive food-wise as well and things like that. So I think today this unbelievable animal deserves that we try to protect it.
Okay.
But we have to do it in that way that we can ride it as well. If
Yeah.
we were told you can't ride a horse, it's not nice, what would happen to the horse? And
That's a great question.
in time today, I think the horse has never had it as good, I hope so, as before. I mean, it used to tow the trailers,
Yes.
but now we have so nice trailers for them. So
Now they ride along.
think about design like of saddlers. When I started to think about, and my father with me, we had flat seat saddles. We had really narrow channel saddles.
Yes.
And what inspired me is, like for Landsmot, it was in the south. The competition horses from the north, they rode them to Landsmot and competed. You didn't have bunch of trailers to. So
Yeah.
this is how it was. So you needed a saddle, protected the horse and the rider, during the journey to Landsmot, and then you have to compete. So I started to think we need a good saddle that protects the horse and rider on the tracks, in the riding hall, whatever came later. And instead of having one saddle for the track, one for the competition, people come and ask, I'm not a competition person, I don't need a saddle like that. But we have combined a saddle that works for training, for your own courses, for competition, and for tracking, long ride distance. So that is how we think about it.
That leads me to the next question, and this is a transition more into the shop talk, but could you describe for us the design process behind how you create a new Ástund saddle? We have a Wakanda sitting here, but you have different models. How have you gone about creating the different saddles that you have in your lineup now?
Of course, from experience in my riding and training. But it starts with the saddle tree.
Yes.
So you can never, ever make a good saddle on a cheap saddle tree or a bad saddle tree. So the foundation has to be there. Good, symmetric, durable saddle tree. That's where you start with. Then comes all the foam and panels, the flock and things like that. Like I said earlier, I listen to people, what they tell me. So in the early days, we had famous riders help us to create a saddle. What came out of that was a saddle that fitted that person very well, but not maybe for general purpose and all the people. So I have a book that I write in. So I listen to the customers when they come to the store or when we're on a clinic or writing lessons or things like that, what they're saying. And I note down what people have, knee problem or hip problem or back problem, lower back or whatever it is. So then you start to think about a solution for that. So you combine that and maybe then you have views or sentences from 100 to 200 people. Lately, the saddles and saddle making and the questions I ask is more women related. 80% of my customers are probably now women, girls and women. And your pelvis and hip is different than for men. So I saw a lot of women sitting on the saddle, but not in it. And there's a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Two small saddles, knees maybe in front of the knee pad or up on it, things like that. So that's where we go about. Then we use science, test, sensor mats. We never ever rush a making of a saddle. We don't go into a mass fabric and stay there for 1 or 2 days and out comes a saddle and we launch it. No, we take 1 to 2 years, we try it, we make few models, we have different people ride in it, get feedback. Then we have take it to when we are happy, we send it and have it tested in a sensor mat if the pressure points are okay and we're happy with it. So that's a little bit the process. Today, like for the Wakanda, that was for the women pelvis, it's different design like that. That's a different story to explain that maybe later on. I don't know. And like we had a foam saddle with foam panels and not anymore.
Why was that?
All the tests and all the science say the wool is better.
Okay.
That doesn't mean all wool is equally as good. So we use Jacob's wool, which is the best one we have found on the market. Think about that. How can it benefit the rider, balance of the rider, position of the rider, and how does it protect the horse?
And you have told us a little bit about the importance of the durability and the quality of the tree. Could you tell us a little more specifically about the materials and just maybe the selection process of the materials? Like, do you have any stories about the testing of materials and how you ended up with certain manufacturers?
That is gained, and we use experience from other companies as well in the
Okay.
industry.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, first selection of leather. Like I told you the story about when we went a bit cheaper. We don't think about the price, just the quality.
Yes.
And so the leather comes from Italy, Swiss, England. And today we have a person that is specialist in leather in the UK. So instead of we hunting for that type of leather from one country, this leather from another country, he just takes care of that. Tree, the leather and everything. We used to have a press. First it was hand cut everything. Then we had a press, so molds, and you pressed, and out came the leather of the flap and every single thing. Today is laser cut.
Okay.
So it's detailed to the finest, it's always the same. And then you have the hide put on the table. And it just instead to get every part of the hide, of course you try to use it as sensible as possible. But if there is a scratch or something thinner and we're not happy with it, it's X'd out, and that leather is not laser cut, it's just left out. We throw that away or use it for something else. Then we try to just hunt for the best forms that are in the seat. And we are a member of the Society of Master Saddles. So we have standard issues that we have to fulfill, like for the tree, how many rivets are in it. It has to have a stamp from the Society of Master Saddlery that it's okay. So and we never shy away from that. So
You mentioned also the seams and the
Yes.
importance of how the seams are done. Would you elaborate on that?
that is a bit for my saddlers to explain in different ways. It's a wax thread. It's really
wax thread.
Yeah. So
And is that different from other saddles?
most use it.
You're more the designer, right?
Yes, and I'm just like they tell me, and I can't remember every single details of the
Detail.
materials as well, but shape of the tree and everything like that. I'm more of an expert in that.
Yes. Well, we can attest to the quality of these saddles. I mean, we've had many saddles go through our barns, and these are always the ones that not only do they fit such a wide variety of horses well
Mm-hmm.
and riders,
Yes.
but they stand the test of time unlike any other saddle. It's incredible. I mean, the stuff we put them through, the many days that they sometimes spend in the beds of our truck because we forget about our tack. Sorry to say, pretend you didn't do
I know
that.
how it works. I've been there, done that.
But they look incredible still and
Very durable. The
10
leather
plus
color
years
makes a big
later.
difference.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you don't have to clean it or take
No.
care of it. I mean, the more expensive or better quality, better care of it you should take.
Yes, absolutely. Should. We do our best.
Well, we come regularly here, at least once a year. One of my saddlers, me, myself, and we go over every single saddle from Gumundur
Yes.
before the tracks or things like that. Reflock it, or take care of the seams if needed, or change billets if they're
Worn.
Yeah, so we don't have more. Gumundur doesn't want to have an accident because of that, and so that's a fun day or two.
Well, we have actually some questions around that. So I might skip to those. When do you need to reflock saddles? What are some of the signs that riders should try and keep an eye out for as indications that their saddles need reflocking?
First thing is if you see that the back of under the cantle is starting to get closer to the spine. That's one. But front slip is a sign. If it hasn't been sliding forward, the saddle, and it starts to slide forward, that could be a sign of it's need reflocking. Side slip could be a sign that you need reflocking. I would say, like here in Iceland, you should take it in to our saddlery once a year. And that doesn't mean we need to do something every single time.
Yeah.
But we can check on it, we can see if it's symmetric, we can then add some wool to it or even it out if it has pulp. So that process, we just need 10 minutes to look at the saddle and we can tell you what is needed. Normal person over here, sometimes people don't bring it in 10 years. And they're fine.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty with the wool. If you have a foam panel, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So if we reflock a 10 years old Ástund saddle, the flocking is as good and it's just brand new as when you bought it. But with the foam panels, the density of the latex of the foam dies and there's nothing you can do. So either you just get new panels or you can't do anything. If you're a professional trainer and you ride 10, 12 horses, then probably once a year you need some refill.
A tune-up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So going now, talking a little bit about saddle fit.
Mm-hmm.
We had this great question come from a listener. What role do saddle pads play in saddle fit? Is that something that you consider in the saddle fit process with your customers? What kind of saddle pads they're using?
Yes, I would recommend just plain numna or a saddle pad or cloth, whatever name you want to use, just like a cotton one just underneath. That protects the saddle and the horse. The sweat of the horse is salter than blood. When it's different in men, then the blood is saltier than the sweat. That's why you see this white foam on horses and things like that. That's why the underneath flap is called a sweat flap. So the salt coming into the leather, you're also protecting from that. Yeah, and there are more glides, sweat glides, is it called that?
Sweat glides.
Yeah, on the side of the horse than on the back.
Okay.
So that's one purpose to use a saddle cloth. Then it works as a protection. There are gel pads, there are wool pads, and memory foam and all kinds of things. I mean, most of them are okay in one way or another. Gel pads, we in Icelandic, we have used to prevent forward or front slip. Because some of the Icelandic horses were downhill or didn't have with us, so we put the gel pad directly on the horse's back. And when I've been doing saddle fitting all around the world, I've never ever seen that with any other breed. It's something, and there's some indication maybe that's not good.
Yeah.
I have that feeling myself. I've seen white hairs, but I've yet to see any damage. But I would have cotton saddle cloth and then gel pad on that.
Okay.
So that would work as a cushioner, but not directly on the horse's hair. We tried once to see if it helps, and then comes into what I use. Normally it's wool pads with buckets. So I have shims,
Okay.
rubber shims or foam shims that you could put in front if you want to hire the front of the horse, or in the middle, or on the back. Sometimes if you see a side slip or something like that, I put it just on one side to see if that helps. Then I know how to reflock it or flock it or make it better. Or is it the horse that is not symmetry or not working right? I don't recommend it for a long time use with shims, but for a period of time. But it helps me in my work to help people to find out or find a solution.
Would you say that saddle pads can help short term to adjust for a poorly fitted or flocked saddle, but really long term the saddle should just fit well?
I don't think a saddle cloth can even out a bad saddle. So if the saddle is bad, it can prevent or you're going to help out.
Yeah.
But it's not going to make the saddle any better. The problem is there. It's just like you're avoiding it with that. But
Like a Band-Aid.
yeah. And where should you protect it? I mean, we have the best solution in the panels, but sometimes you have horses with weak back or something happened. But in Icelandic riding, we don't ride horses with back problems. We wait until they have
Until they're okay. before
Okay,
you
yeah,
ride
yeah,
them anyway,
yeah, yeah. But sometimes all kind of saddle fitting and saddle pads, cloths are to make you able to ride a horse that has problems and ride it with the problem. Here's an issue of ethic.
Yeah,
I
it
did
shouldn't
not-
be doing that in the first place.
What is right and what is wrong? I mean, I'm not going to be any judge in that matter, but if the horse is lame and it comes through the back or something, we don't ride it. But we have seen horses abroad that have kissing spines, had spine operation, and you're fitting a cloth and a saddle so you can ride that horse.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I think that's something that, I mean, that's definitely not something that I even considered in this question. I was just thinking of how people use saddle pads, like you said, to make a bad saddle better, though it's not making it better. But you're so right in that they're also maybe trying to ride issues that we shouldn't ride in.
Because you're trying to ride through pain,
Yes.
not yours,
Yes.
but your friend, the horse.
So it's going back to about how the saddle is ultimately protecting the horse.
Yes.
Zooming out and looking at a bigger picture, what parts of Icelandic culture have most impacted your development of Ástund tack?
Like in the 50s, 60s, and through 80s, when people were riding to the tournaments, to Landsmót, I didn't know better. But then we had flat seat saddles, and when you were riding 12 to something, you were supposed to move, you were supposed to move in pace and move around on the horse's back and change position. And that's why it triggered why we started a deeper seat and different seats. And I'm happy to say, and I'm proud of it, that most of our competitors are on that wagon today.
So you were the pioneer of that for Icelandic saddles for the most part.
For the Icelandic horse changing of that. So today, I know better and we know better, but the best thing is to have a comfortable, balanced seat and not move at all. Then you can time your aids better, and then you control the horse better, and the understanding is there between you and the horse. If you have a flatter seat and the seat that doesn't help you, and you're always just like moving and finding your balance, then the aids are not coming from the same position. So there will be a misunderstanding in the language between you and the horse. But if you sit stable and you have 3 leg positions or something like that, they come from the same angle, and it's easier for the horse to understand that. And it makes your riding pleasant. If you're unbalanced and you're jumping around, there's a lot of issue today about how much you should weight compared to the weight of the horse.
Yeah.
I have an issue with that, and that's maybe a different discussion. But I have a lot of points there. But the horse senses of life. So if we are jumping around, that's disturbing the communication between you and the horse. So if you're stable, it's much easier.
With that body weight ratio conversation, saddle fit does play a big role, right?
Yeah.
Because like as you've been saying, it protects the horse. It distributes weight. A good tree distributes weight. In the U.S., treeless saddles are quite popular within some groups. That obviously concentrates the weight. We don't have to do a long-winded conversation, but would you maybe give us some bullet points about the role that well-fitting saddle plays in that debate?
Yes, I mean, the seat points, if they're just like on a horse, if they are loose going around, it's like with a circle, with electricity. When you put it in and it's just, then it's a shortage.
Yeah.
So it's a different, the same. So you get disconnected, then you're connected, you get disconnected. So that's going to disturb you speaking with the horse or sensing the horse, or the horse understanding you. With the weight issue, who decided 20%?
we very.
I'm not saying I'm against it,
Yeah.
And now people are writing and say, okay, the horse was much more tired because you were 80 kilo and not 70. Of course, when I'm carrying a bag that is 50 kilo, I get quicker tired than 40 kilos. But why 20? Why not 50?
Yeah.
Or 21? With the science based on.
There isn't enough science, is my
There
understanding.
isn't one. It's just like something decided that. I can understand. I think you have the benefit of horse. I'm not saying I'm against those people or nothing.
No.
If I have a horse, you say I weight 20 kilos, and my horse has a specific weight, and I'm a bit above that, I'm allowed to ride that horse. So, okay, what can I do? I put it in the field, it eats for 6 months, gets obese and maybe diabetes too, and gains 50 kilos. You're good to go, ride that pony. Is that what we're looking for?
Yeah, the body condition plays a big role, right? You can increase your horse's weight with
Yeah.
poor body condition. That doesn't make it better able to carry you.
No, I mean, and for a lot of riders or customers, this is a bit of can I say that, fat shame?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people that are not are heavily built, just to use that word, and they are so balanced, they are so good riders, not moving at all in the saddle, and timing their aids correct, and the horse is happy and feels good. Yes, if you ride 10 kilometers, then the horse gets tired.
Yeah.
Should the rider lose 5 kilos, or should the rider just then ride 8 kilometers?
Yes.
I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of debate. So I think it's so easy to come to the conclusion we shouldn't ride horses because the horse was not born to carry a man. That's what all riding, surfing, everything we're doing is to make it easier for the horse.
Yeah, the foundational principle.
Yeah.
Another question that came from a listener is if it is hard to find a good saddle fit for your horse, some horses are tougher to fit than others. What aspects of fit are you more likely to temporarily sacrifice? And what are things that are just non-negotiable? Like it's really important that this is okay, but we can kind of make do with this not being as okay.
Well, when I've been saddle fitting like in Scotland, then I haven't saddle fitted on Icelandic horse over there. Just ponies and thoroughbreds and all kinds of horses, wells, cuffs, and you name it. There's a big of an issue. And then when, as a saddle fitter, you go around and you are fitting on that breed and then you do this breed. With the Icelandic horses, it's a bit easier. I would say for the Icelandic horse, I would sacrifice maybe a bit the length of the saddle. For example, if the rider is, I would say this horse needs 17 inches, but the rider needs 17 and a half. Then maybe I would say, okay, that works. What I would never sacrifice is the clearance in paddles. So no spine contact at all, neither from above or from the sides. That's like, you think you're freeing the spine, like in some, you said treeless,
Yeah.
but then sometimes they're pinching on the side. I'm not against saddle pads, so they can work very well treeless and
In specific uses.
yeah,
Yes.
in between and things like that. But it's proven that they do not spread the weight of the rider as good as on the tree saddles. But that doesn't mean they are a complete rigid saddlery will spread the weight best. But then your problems in back and in front. So ours are flexible, but they are not allowed, or we don't want them to flex too much. So we want to have spread the weight as on the over surface of the horseback as possible. So I will never sacrifice the clearance of the panels.
One of our listeners asked, what saddle care products do you recommend?
We use FS and Apple. It's a German product. In our saddlery, we tried everything that's available. There are a lot of good products. What leather grease or fat you use, it maybe doesn't matter. It's better that you clean it more regularly and put leather fat on it more regularly than just good products once a year or something. For me, just if I talk about me, I would say in my stable, I just have a cloth and leather fat and leather soap that you don't use. It's a liquid, and I just put it in the cloth and clean the inlets if it is dirty, and just tear and stroke a little bit off the saddle. Every second day or after the day, it takes you a couple of minutes, 5 minutes max, and then once a month, bit of a leather fat on it, and if you do it regularly, clean it, then you're fine. But today, and the modern saddles, like with the skin and the foams, we avoid oil. Don't recommend oil. Because if you have oil, and then I've seen it with a customer, and he bought a liter of oil, and she wanted to be nice to the saddle and protect it. So she started to put the oil on, and it just absorbed endless, and she almost ruined the saddle, because then went through the skin and to the foam, so it was just like, and here as well. So leather fat more frequently, less, much better.
I have one final saddle question in this shop talk category. One of the things that we encounter a lot in the U.S. is the conversation over the position of the saddle.
Mm-hmm.
Most other saddles are fitted to be further forward, and we place our tack further back than is traditional in most other disciplines.
Mm-hmm.
Would you explain to us a little bit how the saddle positioning is meant to be with this tack and why? And
well, from experience, yes, that's true. We saddle up a little bit more backwards than through the guideline, for example, of the Society of Master Saddlers. But founder of the Society of Master Saddlers, a good friend of mine, Kay Hastelo, said to me once, the Icelandic horse is a totally different equine. Here comes the issue of T18 and all kinds of things. We are not saddling as much backwards as we have been told that or said we are doing. There are pictures out there with people that say they are saddle fitters and things like that, and put some saddles in awkward position that we normally don't see.
Yeah.
But the guideline, like for Society of Master Saddlers, like 4 or 5 fingers or 5 centimeters behind the scapula. In my experience, we are about 6 to 7 centimeters. It's not more than that. We have tried, like me and Gudmar, and other writers as well, to change position of the saddle. And normally if we saddle up so much in front, we see less leg movement and we see no benefits at all. We don't know, that's what I'm saying, but we are not seeing it.
In your experience?
Yeah. We or good friends, one lady from Canada, one from Scotland, both saddle fitters. They have been coming over here, and we measured 60 horses, Icelandic horses, in different stables, just recently. They have never ever measured so many horses or templated in 2 days. Of those 60 horses, not a single horse had a back problem.
Wow.
All girth like we, or saddled up like we.
Like we do traditionally with the saddle further back.
Yeah, and they totally agreed that they didn't find anything. And now we have a lot of data coming that we are studying. The Icelandic horse has grown, it's higher, it has better withers, it's more barrel shaped than we used to, both through feeding and better training and understanding. Leg movement, higher movement, that's a bit of an Icelandic thing, right?
Yeah.
At least in competition. And there are a lot of nerves in the elbow. So if we saddle up so much forward, the girth goes into the girth groove, And some Icelandic horses have a forward girth groove. That means the girth goes to the elbow, and that's hindering the leg movement. So there is a study, and that's proven, it was not made on Icelandic horses, that the leg movement is higher and longer, as longer strides, if the girth is narrow by the elbow and soft. And for us in Icelandic horse business, that sounds like a beauty, a higher movement. But I don't know, maybe I will have some other answer in a year or two. There's a lot of studies going on.
Do you think that it maybe looks further back just because the anatomy of
Shape
the
of the-
Icelandic is different?
Exactly, you're totally right.
Yeah.
We have found the 19th rib, a fake rib, we found that in some of them. And there are a lot of, what's it called, dissections. So there is a lot of studies going on, and we will see a lot of things. So today you see, okay, but it's too early to have anything to talk about.
Yeah. But it does seem to be working, and it doesn't seem to, at least based on the data we have right now, be hurting the horses in any way.
Yeah, and my colleagues in the Society of Master Saddles, it's just sad that we don't have a bare tree. I mean, sometime I can show it to you.
Yeah.
But the tree ends in theory here. It's around here, that's where the tree ends. So that can go to T18. And we would allow, and a lot of people they are starting to allow that, especially in the Iceland, of course, that the panels can go a bit further.
But based on just the Icelandic practice of having it fit a little further back, do you see that there's a potential benefit in other disciplines or other saddle fit if they were to adopt the same?
I can tell you a story. I mean, sometimes things do not go as you planned they go. I was in Scotland with a friend of mine, Laura Nichol, and we were saddle fitting a big horse, and we were not figuring out completely what was happening or finding the right way. It was a tricky horse. So I suggest is that we take the saddle cloth off, as you could try a saddle without the cloth. And then she turned to me, "Are you sure?" Just, yes, why? What could happen? He could be saddle sore. What do you mean saddle sore? Well, he has never had a saddle without the cloth. I said, that shouldn't change anything. And the lady saddled up, went on the mounting block, went on the horse, one horse length, whoops, buckled, threw her off. So to test things like that, to put them more back, so if the horse is used to that, you would have to start quite early in the training to get used to it. So I backed up. I had to saddle one horse or so a bit further back, but after I saw that, I didn't
Get a little bit more nervous.
Unless I was just going to write it myself.
Yeah,
That's a great point.
yeah, it's hard to know. What is the most common issue you address in your running a tack company? With our podcast, we like to talk about the problems, not just the good things. So what is the thing that is most challenging or bugs you the most that you deal with day to day running a tack company?
Money and staff. No, I have really good people, but it's always challenging.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and the world is a bit changing, and I'm like, Happy pointed out that we could do better in social media and our website.
Yeah.
So we are going that direction. I mean, more and more people are buying on the online, but we are known, like in Ástund, for customer service.
Yes.
And to have new people to learn that customers is, I mean, you have to have full focus to treat the customer well, but never lie.
Yeah.
Never lie. Then you have to remember a lot more things, what you lied about, and try to guide the customer. Sometimes you want the sale, but don't get stuck on that. If you give good advice and if you're honest in your advices, that customer comes back.
I think that's good advice, generally speaking, in life too.
Is too. Yeah. And I think we also can attest that while you may have good staff, it is hard to find good staff. We've both experienced that. To find good help is rare.
Well, that share your principles and your values.
But if you
Love
and
that.
your people have advice what we can do better or an idea, I'm over this. I will listen and take that into account.
Absolutely. What do you see as the future of saddle and tack design over the next 10 to 20 years?
I'm hopeful that through all those scientific science that are made now, some of it will benefit us, riders, teacher, horse people, tack store owners, the horse. But there are things coming out of it as well that are troubling. Like we addressed some, I mean, there is social acceptance things now. I can understand that, but we have to figure out a way altogether. There are so many people now that have never seen a horse live. I mean, for me, when I went abroad to London, I went to the zoo and saw a lion. I mean, for millions of people, the horse has become that. And we see that with the tourists driving around Iceland. They stop at the middle of the road just to stroke a horse. They've never been in close contact with a horse. I don't know where it's taking us, but I think our focus will be to make the tack design on the science so we can at least adopt if we find something from those results from science. If we have been doing something wrong, then quickly change it. If you can make something better, then quickly change it. You sometimes add to why we have a wooden saddle tree, why we don't use plastic tree. We will turn to plastic tree if that comes that will be better than the ones we're using. I don't think any revolution is around the corner, but it's just that where we are heading as people with the horse beside us. There's no problem with the horse, it's just human problems.
I like that. That's a good note to end on. Horses have life figured out. We just have to figure out our lives around them. Yeah, and see where I think that data collection and utilizing the science to guide us is really important, and then balancing that with what has worked.
Yeah.
It's just such a delicate line to dance.
Yeah.
You know, we want to stick to what has served us in the past because tradition is all we've had. But then as each new data point comes in, we integrate it and adjust.
And I mean, I don't know if Eivor Ísólfsson taught you on horseback.
No, but he
No.
did come to Kentucky when Gumundur was there several times. So I did many clinics with him as a
So he has been my mentor through the whole life. So and he always said that, and that's why I told like when in the store, tack store, never lie. That's like for the horse. They are so honest. They don't lie. They just behave like what they're supposed to behave. We talk about problem horses or things like that each year.
Yeah. They are who they are. Yeah.
And I loved listening to you and how you do your own data collecting with the taking note and stuff. Like, you really are just a forever innovator, and you have an open mind to continue searching for what's better for the horse, which is the direction that the future is going. Like, as long as we are open-minded to always searching for what's better, then hopefully
we'll keep making
We have to sit down some evening with Gudmar and we have to make a brainstorm. I mean, that's those times and moments I love the most.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's built through community.
Yeah, well, thank you so much
Thank you.
for letting us interview you. We will come back for sure.
Welcome. And maybe we can do some
series
templating to show people where to template and saddle up, and I'm open for suggestions. Yeah,
I would love it. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Fifth Gait Podcast. I know you've heard this on other channels, but it really is so important that you like and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening through, or all of them for that matter. We would also love to hear from you on social media, so please send us ideas, suggestions. Let us know what you're enjoying right now so we can continue to make content you want to watch and hear. Thank you again for your support, and we will see you next time on the next episode of the Fifth Gait Podcast.